G'day Jen, thank you for using my online protection service. Now in the questionnaire you wrote down that you're a full-time teacher but you also are a serious artist, and most of the time when you're doing serious artwork it's of portraits of children on the beach, so the beach seems to be a very strong part of your theme. Now you said you did this piece of work just for a bit of fun to take you to another place, and you also said that you were an art critique and that's what we give you. But I'm reluctant to be too hard because this was originally just a piece of a little bit of fun. But let's have a look, let's have a close look. Now Jen, it looks like to me that you've painted this painting in about 2 or 3 different sittings. The first time the work looks more controlled, you have larger brushstroke outlines, this very strong graphic element through here, and a couple of spots in there as well. But when you come back the second or third time, I think your mood is different because you've added white and you've increased and watered down the bright blue areas and used ink. So it seems like you've come along later on, thrown down this white area through here, and not being necessarily careless, but being a lot more carefree. And this ink, obviously you've turned the canvas around and you put ink on it, ink or very much watered down paint, and you've let it drip down there. Now that's fine, but I'm a bit concerned about some things here. The first thing is that if it is ink, it's likely to not be archival and it's likely to fade a lot more quickly than some of the other areas. If they were earth colour inks, that would be okay. Now there's 2 things that grab my attention here. One is these rocks that are here. They're very bold, they're confidently painted, they're bright and they stand out. And the second point is the Surf Life Saving Club. Now I would say that you're happy with this painting because way down in the right hand side, just down through here, might be out of camera, that you've signed it. And anytime I see a signature on a work, I go a little bit cautiously because often it says to me the person's been really happy with what they've done and they've signed it and they're reluctant to change it. And so I'll go warily. I'll come back to what you said at the very beginning in the questionnaire, is that you did this because you wanted to have a bit of fun and to take away from the more structured, rigid paintings that you normally do, which is of portraits. So let's look at the positive things first off with the painting that you've done so far. You've got a great vantage point, that's terrific. And yes, the clubhouse is the focal point, it's the focal point for the group. But I don't find the clubhouse all that inspiring. You know, we're on the rocks, we've got a certain feel from that, it's nicely painted, it's very strong, it's got a particular style about it. But I don't find there's anything particularly endearing with the building. And the reason for that is it seems quite soulless. You've got these eyes through here, you have no people on there at all, there's no connection with people on there or on the bridge going down to the beach. So it seems like the rocks and the clubhouse dominate the whole picture. And so as our eye goes further through here, the people are in there, but they are all painted very differently. They don't have the same sort of style. They are individuals, they're not grouped together. They're doing their own thing. And as I go further to the right hand side of this painting, there's less and less interest. There's less, my eye doesn't go into anything in particular. It goes yes to this rock, but the people seem to be quite insignificant. Now the technique that you've used says that it's happy, and perhaps it was more about you moving paint around. So it looks like you've had a lot of fun here. You've mixed up lots of paint and moved it around. But I'm not so sure about the composition. If this was mine, I would say you need to have some continuity and consistency to pull the painting together. We have very different styles and techniques happening here. We have this black outline, as I say, yet the black outline doesn't appear anywhere else. To some degree it's slightly over here on the clubhouse, and there's just suggestions here and there. So that's a bit inconsistent. Perhaps this black outline maybe is not as heavy as what it is in the foreground, but it is to delineate different subjects such as the water, the beach, the building, the mountains and so on. problem is that there's no clear eye path or focal point, nothing of particular interest, and it's also heavily weighted to the left-hand side, so my eye is kind of stuck here. For example, the sort of things that you could have done here, the rocks could have had a person or two, or a bird. Also, the rocks are a little bit lumpy. They're not the sort of rocks I can easily walk over, so there's a barrier between us, the rocks, and working our way through this landscape. It's not easy to get onto that beach. We feel that perhaps we have to stand back, walk back, and get around to that beach again. The other thing is too, I don't see these, regarding continuity, I don't see these rocks reappearing anywhere else on the beach. They're just stuck here and they seem quite alien to the rest of the landscape. Also, it looks like these rocks are ready to tumble into the sea. And I think the figures could have been developed a lot more to do with their positioning, people interacting and overlapping shapes. It's a lot more interesting, rather than we have some shapes that are, of people are blue, some are black, some have colours on them, but they're all done in different sort of styles. I think they could have been grouped together, interacting together, and whatever style you use for one figure should have been used on all the others. So we have a variety of different sort of styles happening there. So no two figures are painted in the same way. And also I can't really tell easily what the figures are doing. And there's no link between the people on the beach and the clubhouse. No one on the balcony. We have these black windows that look soulless. And where are the umbrellas to stop or hold our attention? Also, where is the wet sand? We don't have any wet sand in there. It's just all dry right to there. And there's no variety within this water other than these drips through here. But the drips start midway. They don't start all the way back through here. And that's a shame. If you're going to do that, it'd be good to have more of those through there. And also, the use of aerial perspective. Even though this is a fun sort of picture, we could and should see some aerial perspective to give us a sense of depth. The other suggestion I've got, and I can understand if you don't want to do it because it might look a little bit kitsch, but this is a fun picture after all. I would suggest there's an opportunity for putting a seagull or two just in this area here. That counterbalances the activity that's happening here and the visual lateness of this side. Also suggest that you bring in some more bold brush strokes through here, similar to the ones that you've got here, and that will balance that picture out. Now, I understand it's very difficult to look at two works like this on a TV screen, and there's such fine detail here. But this is just to give you some sort of comparison. Not that we can't compare these as great works of art. This has been done very quickly digitally, and I'm not trying to mimic your style. I'm just trying to show you that there are some other possibilities. What I've done is I've moved that rock away to open that up and made the beach a little bit bigger and brighter. The rock's been moved away through here, so it's a little bit more balanced, and lowered the rocks so it looks like we can walk over those rocks. I've tried to give the same sort of style to the roof instead of just being one flat colour. There's several colours there, similar to the technique that you've used in your rocks, and I've done the same thing with the landscape. And so with those hills there, I've delineated them with a dark outline, which is the same as what you've got on your foreground here. And I've added a few more characters, colourful characters here and there to connect that building with the activities in the water. I've added a few little bits of colour around here too. They could suggest that they're vehicles or something else that's colourful in the landscape to keep that sort of fun happening. Through here I've put some people on the stairs and on the boardwalk. I've moved these characters up through here so they are a bit of a pointer, takes your eye further down. I've moved the clouds here because they were pushing that way and everything was going towards the left. I've removed those and put those here to the right, boosted up the colour slightly of the sky and made it a little bit brighter. I'd suggest that you continue doing this drippy effect but further over here into here. There's an opportunity for you even to delineate some of those waves. There's an area down through here that could be an opportunity to have surf life saving vehicles or some umbrellas, add a bit more colour, and I suggest that you paint these areas, maybe go use a bit of aerial perspective and get it going more to the blue greys. They're just some suggestions. In the end, it was about you having fun, and hopefully that was the case. Well, Jim, I hope I wasn't too hard on you. You did ask for a hard critique. I was reluctant to do that. I think you've done a good job. It's great to see someone experiment and go down a different path than they would normally do. The main thing is that you have fun, and it's been most enjoyable giving this critique. Thank you.